The waiter's laugh was sharp and careless, the kind that cuts before you even realize you've been wounded. It echoed just loud enough for nearby tables to hear, and for a brief second, the entire restaurant seemed to pause. The single dad looked up slowly from the menu, his young daughter perched beside him, her feet swinging under the chair. He didn't argue. He didn't snap back. He only smiled politely, the tired, practiced smile of a man who had learned long ago that dignity didn't need noise to survive. What no one in that room knew was that before the night was over, that same quiet man would become the reason every single person there walked out alive. The restaurant was busy, filled with the hum of clinking glasses, soft music, and conversations overlapping in waves. It was the kind of place people came to forget their problems for an hour. The single dad, Daniel, had saved for weeks to bring his daughter, Lily, here. She had aced her spelling test, and he'd promised her a fancy dinner, even though fancy made him uncomfortable. His jacket was old, his shoes worn thin, and the scars on his hands hinted at a life that had been harder than most. When the waiter glanced at Daniel's clothes, then at Lily's water cup, and smirked, the judgment was instant. "Just so you know," the waiter said, loud enough to sting, "the kids' menu is cheaper." Daniel felt Lily stiffen beside him. He met her eyes and squeezed her hand gently. "We're okay," he said softly. "Thank you." That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. The waiter rolled his eyes as he walked away, muttering something about people who didn't belong. A couple at the next table exchanged awkward glances. Someone else snorted in amusement. Daniel focused on his daughter's smile, fragile but brave, and reminded himself why he was here. Moments like these were nothing compared to what he'd endured before. He'd learned to swallow pride in places far louder and far more dangerous than this. Daniel was a veteran, a single father, a man who had lost friends, lost sleep, and lost pieces of himself he'd never get back. The war had taught him how quickly ordinary moments could turn into chaos, how danger often arrived disguised as nothing at all. That instinct never left him, no matter how normal life seemed. As food arrived and conversations grew louder, Daniel noticed something off. A man near the entrance kept touching his jacket, eyes darting around the room. Another stood up, pacing near the restrooms, whispering urgently into his phone. Daniel's shoulders tensed. He shifted in his seat, scanning exits without even realizing he was doing it. Lily was happily coloring on a placemat, unaware that her father's mind had already shifted into a different gear. The first scream came without warning. A loud bang followed, sharp and unmistakable. The music cut off. Plates shattered. Panic spread like fire through dry grass. The man by the entrance pulled out a weapon, shouting incoherently, while his partner blocked the door. People dove under tables. Someone cried out for help. In seconds, the restaurant transformed from a place of laughter into a room filled with terror. Daniel moved before fear could take hold. He pulled Lily close, whispering calmly in her ear, telling her to stay quiet, to trust him. His heart pounded, but his mind was clear. This was what the military had trained him for, not violence, but protection. Control. Saving lives when everything else fell apart. The waiter who had mocked him earlier froze in place, tray slipping from his hands. His face drained of color as he realized how real the danger was. He crouched behind the counter, shaking, eyes wide and helpless. Daniel assessed the room. The gunman was distracted, yelling at the kitchen staff. The second man was nervous, inexperienced. Daniel knew that look. He saw an opportunity. He locked eyes with a terrified mother across the room and gestured slowly toward the emergency exit behind her table. She nodded, guiding her children away when the gunman's back turned. One by one, Daniel helped people move. He whispered instructions, stayed low, used tables and shadows as cover. His body remembered what his mind never forgot. When the moment came, when the gunman turned and spotted him, Daniel didn't hesitate. He tackled him with precision, forcing the weapon away as chaos erupted again. The second man fled. Sirens wailed in the distance. When it was over, Daniel sat on the floor, breathing hard, Lily clutched safely in his arms. Police swarmed the building. Paramedics checked the injured. The room buzzed with disbelief. People stared at Daniel, realization dawning in their eyes. The waiter approached slowly, his earlier arrogance gone, replaced by shame. His voice trembled as he spoke. "I'm sorry," he said. "I had no idea. You saved us." Daniel looked at him, not with anger, but with something gentler. Understanding. It's okay, he replied. Just remember, everyone's fighting a battle you can't see. That night changed more than one life. It reminded everyone in that restaurant that heroes don't always look the way we expect. Sometimes they wear worn jackets. Sometimes they're quiet. Sometimes they're just trying to give their kid a good night out. If this story moved you, if it reminded you to see people differently and believe in quiet strength, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps share stories that matter, stories that remind us courage often walks in unnoticed, until the moment it's needed most.